Let's make this epic.
Coach, the Goedert contract just hit the ledger. 1 year, $7 million. It's a masterstroke. Howie Roseman just wiped $20 million in dead cap off the 2026 books. The financial vitals are green across the board.
Green for us means a red light for everyone else, operator.
Talk about the sports here. Tight end Dallas Goedert, after it was rumored that he was going to be leaving Philadelphia, he is now apparently signing a 1-year deal to return for the Eagles this season. What does Dallas Goedert signing mean for the Eagles?
You know what it is. And I ain't talking about Texas. I'm happy he's back. First of all, because if you really watch the games, he blocks really well, and he's a mismatch on defense for linebackers and certain safeties. And Jalen Hurts, he might have had a down year last year, but that's his go-to guy. Whenever he's he's struggling or he has like get an insurance wide receiver, he goes to Dallas all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that move. I'm happy we kept him because I was mad. I was hearing the rumors that we might lose him.
Yeah, I was excited.
Goddard's thing is gigantic. Gigantic for the Eagles. Y'all got to remember, when the Eagles lacked creativity last year, which they did, especially offensively, what the heck did they do in the red zone? Dallas Goedert. Shovel passes, Dallas Goedert. Now passes, Dallas Goedert. Tight end screens, Dallas Goedert. Fall down, like everything went to Dallas Goedert in the red zone. Now his 11 touchdowns, somewhere from 2 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards, 2 yards, 4 yards, but nonetheless, when the Eagles needed an easy option, Dallas Goedert was always the option. You have Saquon Barkley there. Teams are going to stack the box. Jalen Hurts, he's continuing to grow and figure out how to be a more proficient passer, particularly in the red zone. Dallas Goedert was the safety outlet. So outside of a running game, a tight end is a quarterback's best friend. Dallas Goedert's return to the Eagles is gigantic, particularly for Jalen Hurts and also for Sean Mannion. Because the first thing that a new offensive coordinator does, and Shady can attest to it, just like a new defensive coordinator, you watch the tape from last year. What worked? What worked? What didn't work? If you're the Eagles and you're looking at what worked, Dallas Goedert had 40% of the touchdown catches for the Eagles. Yeah. What worked? The first thing Sean Mannion, new offensive coordinator for the Eagles, was going to do is turn on the touchdown cut up.
Yeah.
And when you turn on the touchdown cut up, you finna see Dallas Goedert.
Any good block.
Yeah.
Any good block.
Good play.
The two ways the Eagles were getting in the end zone last year were Dallas Goedert, getting down the field was Dallas Goedert, and then Jalen Hurts getting his dump truck pushed forward. That's pretty much what we had. So like,
getting his
I don't
dump
know.
truck.
No, I'm sorry. It's I hate the tush push. This is huge for Philadelphia. I was so excited whenever I found out that he was going to be leaving, but he's quietly one of the best tight ends in the game. I think he's genuinely a top 5 tight end in the game. He makes contested catches whenever you need him. He's a very, very dependable guy that's not just going to go out there and make stupid drop after stupid drop. Dallas Goedert being back is huge for the Eagles. As long as they can keep together that nucleus of skill position players that they have for Jalen Hurts, they're going to be a contender again next year.
Speaking of picking winners, listen up. This April, the Skybox is hosting the coldest panel in the game. It is gonna be ice cold. We're giving away golden tickets to our loyal viewers. If you win a golden ticket, you get a seat at the table.
They're worried about the middle of the field because Reed Blankenship and Nakobe Dean are gone. They don't see the strange solution yet. Pull up the ISOCAM on the new asset, Reek Woolen.
Asset loaded. 1 year, 15 million. 4.26 speed. He's the boundary lockdown. But he's a Seahawk at heart.
I'm a bit surprised, but I think that was his market. Is a lot of people feel really good about what he's able to do, his skill set and his ability, but are kind of in a wait and see mode because they want to understand why his spot in the Seahawks lineup was so volatile. There'd be games he starts, and there'd be games he doesn't play very much. There'll be games he gets benched, especially early on in the season. I think late in the season is when he found his rhythm and started to play really well. It seemed like something clicked for him, and he was tackling well. He was all over the place, and I think in Vic Fangio's system, he's going to thrive. Opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, they're going to be one of the most dynamic pair of corners. I think this is a move that works. I'm sure he would have loved the longer term, more security. You know, nobody really loves playing on a one-year deal, but I think the game is starting to make sense for Reek in a way that this is going to be beneficial to him.
Let's start with the fact that there's very few guys, if any, that are his size with his movement ability. And we saw that rookie season. And then, again, I can't speak to what's in his head, but it just seemed over the years that just the fundamentals, the technique, the concentration, the focus, that wasn't there on a consistent enough basis. And clearly, that's the way the Seahawks felt because they signed Josh Jobe. And remember, they brought Jobe in as a free agent who he came from Philadelphia. So they brought him in as a free agent, and they've now decided he's the better option at cornerback than Woolen, which is why Woolen was a free agent. And he's on a prove-it deal. But there are very, very few guys that are 6'4", 215 that can run like he can with that kind of movement ability. I guess it's a wait and see with Philly, but he's clearly going to start opposite Quinyon Mitchell. And if he plays to what he can be based on his athletic and physical traits, that is arguably the best corner duo.
Then there's a setup architect. The person whose game day setup is cinematic. LED lights, Eagle memorabilia, the perfect angle. Watching a game is more than viewing. It's an experience. They don't just root for the birds. They build a sanctuary around them. No matter your fan style, the perfect Eagle gear is just a click away.
Coach, the secondary vitals just shifted. Howie Roseman just authorized the size speed freak protocol. Rick Woolen is officially in the building. 1 year, $12 million. We're talking 4.26 speed at corner, Coach. The data says he's a boom or bust anomaly.
In this city, operator, we'll take the boom. Woolen isn't here to be a safe play. He's here to be a...
Exactly. And the strange solution at safety is starting to hum. With Reed Blankenship gone to the Texans, everyone is panicked. But look at the tape on Andrew Makuba, 2025 second rounder. He's the deep rover. If Woolen and Mitchell lock the outside, Makuba doesn't have to be a tackler. He just has to be a hawk.
Alert. Fan vitals are still high.
But what's really going on here is so much bigger. This one contract is actually the key piece to a high-stakes puzzle that tells us everything we need to know about the future of superstar A.J. Brown. See, this was never just about keeping a tight end. This was a financial chess match, and it all revolved around two massive potential salary cap hits. We're talking over $40 million. And the secret to understanding how the Eagles dodged a bullet and what happens next with A.J. Brown, well, it's all hidden in the timing of Dallas Goedert's new deal. So, first things first, let's talk about the news that kicked this all off. After a whole weekend of waiting, we finally got the word Dallas Goedert is officially back in Philly for his 9th season. Now, everybody knew both sides wanted this to happen, so why did it take so long? Well, that delay, that's where the real story starts. Yeah, this delay wasn't about the team and the player haggling over a couple $1 million. No. This was a calculated stall tactic by general manager Howie Roseman. He was basically juggling two ticking time bombs, and he needed every single second he could get to defuse one before the other one completely blew up the team's entire offseason. Okay, so to really get what was going on here, we have to talk about the salary cap. More specifically, we have to talk about a potential cap disaster the Eagles were staring down. Howie Roseman was trying to navigate two enormous financial penalties that were, and this is the key, directly linked to each other. So time bomb number one was this. If Dallas Goedert's contract had voided and he'd signed with another team, the Eagles would have been slapped with a staggering $20.5 million charge against their salary cap for a player who wasn't even on the team anymore. That, my friends, is what we call dead cap. And if you're not totally sure what dead cap is, here's the simple version. It's basically guaranteed money you've already paid a player, but the charge against your team's spending limit hasn't been fully accounted for yet. So when that player leaves, bam, all those remaining charges hit your books all at once. And here comes the second time bomb. Trading AJ Brown before June 1st? Well, that would have triggered another massive dead cap hit. This one, about $20 million. So you can see the problem, right? 2 superstars, 2 potential exits, and a grand total of over $40 million in dead money penalties. Yikes. So you might be asking, how in the world did these numbers get so huge? The answer is something called void years. Teams love to add these, let's call them fake years, onto the end of a contract. It lets them spread out the salary cap pain of a big signing bonus over 5 years instead of just 1. But when the real contract ends, a massive bill comes due for all the money you kicked down the road. So this is the absolute crucial point. You have to understand this. The Eagles, they could probably absorb one of these $20 million hits and still function, but they could not, under any circumstances, take on both. A dead cap charge of over $40 million would have absolutely crippled their ability to make any other moves this year. It was a non-starter. And that financial reality, that huge risk, is exactly what tied the fates of Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown together. The Eagles' decision on one player was completely, 100% dependent on what was happening with the other. And this timeline just lays out the strategy perfectly. Look at this. The original deadline for Goedert's contract to void was Tuesday. Then, the Eagles and his agent agreed to push it to Friday. Then, they pushed it again to Monday, before finally getting the deal done on Sunday. You see, this wasn't indecision. This was Howie Roseman literally buying himself time, day by day, to see what was happening on the AJ Brown trade market. This whole thing really puts the two situations into sharp contrast. On one side, you've got Dallas Goedert. This guy could have been an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his entire 9-year career. But instead, he willingly waited. He cooperated with the team. And then on the other side, you have AJ Brown, who's just surrounded by these constant trade rumors and reports that he wants to play somewhere with a more pass-heavy offense. And this quote right here from Jacob Sports, it just puts Goedert's actions into perfect perspective. He held all the cards here. He really could have forced the team's hand, hit the open market, and cashed in big time. But by choosing to wait, he basically did the Eagles a massive, massive favor, and he allowed them to navigate this incredibly tricky situation. So let's piece this all together into the master plan. Because signing Dallas Goedert wasn't just about keeping a really good player. It was a strategic masterstroke by Howie Roseman to get back in the driver's seat of the team's entire offseason. It really breaks down into 4 clear steps. Step 1, stall. They just kept pushing that deadline back. Step 2, explore. While they were stalling, they were on the phone with other teams, feeling out the AJ Brown situation. Step 3, secure. They finally locked in Goedert, and poof, that $20.5 million disaster is off the table. Which leads to the final and most important step, unlock. By getting Goedert signed and using an extension to spread out his existing dead money into the future, the Eagles now have the financial breathing room to handle the AJ Brown situation however it ends up playing out. They solved one huge problem to give themselves options and leverage for the other one. It's brilliant, really. And that, of course, brings us to the $1 million question, well, the $20 million question, that everyone is asking. The Goedert domino has fallen, so the spotlight now swings directly onto AJ Brown. What happens now? Okay, here's what we know. Multiple sources have confirmed that the Eagles have had trade talks with several teams. The 2 names that keep coming up are the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots. There's even some fascinating speculation that maybe talk about the Rams' interest was leaked by the Eagles themselves, to put some pressure on the Patriots. And because of the salary cap stuff we talked about, any trade is way more likely to happen after June 1st. That way the cap hit can be split over 2 seasons. So what are the odds he actually gets moved? Well, veteran reporter John McMullen, who has been all over this story, he put his meter at 80-20. An 80% chance that AJ Brown will not be on the Eagles roster for week 1. As he put it, the feeling around the league isn't really if he leaves, but when. So that's where we are. By re-signing Dallas Goedert, the Eagles did way more than just keep a Pro Bowl tight end. They pulled off a brilliant financial maneuver that gave them the flexibility to resolve this whole AJ Brown saga on their own terms. The first big move has been made, but this game is far from over.
we examine how long-term strategy and roster sustainability dictate the path forward for an organization. Subscribe for a breakdown that values analytical clarity and the reality of the tape over the noise of the moment. This is Skybox Film Room, where we provide the authority of the tape without the ego of the narrative.
Let's make this epic!